Over the years, we have tested and reviewed many providers claiming to have the best web hosting. Naturally, not all of them are built the same, and some simply offer more value than the rest. Since the website builder tier list was fun and seemed to be liked by you guys, today, let's do a web hosting tier list. Before diving in, let's set some ground rules. Many providers offer different tools for various needs. Some cater to users on a tight budget, while others target performance seekers with higher price points. How do we judge them? My main concern is value. How much a provider charges versus what it delivers in return. This includes resources like free domain names, content delivery networks, and website transfers. If it offers good, affordable hosting, it ranks higher on the list. But that's not all. Each provider should also be easy to use, even for beginners. Since I don't think most of you are hosting experts, simple controls and small useful tools are really important. There's no reason to pay for a provider when even just by logging into their control panel, you get a headache. I'm also going to look at performance, including website loading speed, stress testing, and uptime. The best hosting should at least match Google's recommendations and handle at least 50 users browsing at the same time. We're not going to go too deep into performance and we'll focus mostly on shared hosting, since most of you will probably want to start with this type of hosting. Other than that, if any of these providers catch your interest, I've included discount links in the description. Okay, let's see what the web hosting tier list wheel spins for us today. First up, HostGator. Oh boy, HostGator. Did you know that HostGator used to include its okay basic website builder with hosting subscriptions, like a lot of other providers do? But recently they said, nah, you now have to buy it separately. And at this price for a maximum of 3 products you can sell? Yeah, I think you know where this is going. Not great. That said, it's not all bad with HostGator. Running stress tests with 50 virtual users browsing my website simultaneously showed great results and stable response times. The stress test evaluates how resilient the servers are to multiple users at once. So I sent 50 virtual users from one location to browse for around 10 minutes. Then we can see how stable the response times were and whether there were any failures that those users encountered. Now we test from one location to negate the effect of content delivery networks and see how the server itself can handle the pressure. 50 virtual users isn't a small number. There are a lot of users who can be interested in your website at the same time, so it's reachable. So when we talk about affordable shared hosting, 50 is a nice benchmark. If you have more users, congrats, you're popular. Time to move to cloud or virtual private server hosting. Anyway, let's get back to HostGator. I've mentioned content delivery networks for a reason. HostGator has only servers in the US, which isn't the best for international websites. You can get a CDN here, but only with the more expensive plans, while other providers include it for free with cheaper options. Last thing, HostGator does the most annoying thing ever, where it plays a loud ding when you're browsing their website. Basically randomly saying, can I help you? Can I help you? Can I help you? Can I help you? Also, this might just be a pet peeve of mine, but I just don't like the whole HostGator branding. It feels so childish and looks unprofessional. Like, am I about to build a Lego castle on a plan called Baby? Really? Okay, so there's no place to put HostGator other than the D tier. Sorry, but maybe come to the big boys table when you're not a hatchling anymore. Moving on, let's spin the wheel and... well, what a palate cleanser this is. If HostGator was a provider that I had a bit of a spite buildup, then Hostinger is one that I can praise in a lot of ways. It's not perfect, absolutely. No provider is, but if you're a complete beginner and don't want to spend too much money in the long run, this will probably be your best starting point. The best part is that Hostinger has its own website builder that you can use alongside WordPress or any other content management systems. It's really convenient for simple projects where WordPress might be overkill. When running a simple blog or store, why worry about updates, PHP versions, or plugin mismatches? I've remade a couple of my personal projects on the builder, and I appreciate how simple it is. But it's still a new player, so lacks a few things here and there. One big reason why I can easily recommend Hostinger to most beginners is that it doesn't want to scam you. Oh sure, it does apply the industry standard renewals and pricing, but even then, it's not 4 or 5 times like other providers. It's around 2 times the monthly price increase, and each billing option clearly states renewals. You wouldn't believe the number of providers that still hide these numbers somewhere in the terms and services. Then act surprised when people are mad after paying $100 the first time and getting a bill for $500 the next. The controls here are easy and most importantly for me, clean, with no pop-ups or distractions. In fact, it allows you to customize the home screen with widgets. So I just added my main project metrics there for quick access. You also don't need to test your website's loading speed manually. There's a built-in Google PageSpeed Insight test you can run, even giving you advice on what you can do to improve the result. And talking about advice, you get notified if any security issues are discovered and get a description of what the issue is. Basically, you learn what web hosting is and how to manage it in a safe way, almost like if you're in training wheels. Hostinger is the best low-budget choice. What you need to know, once again, is that anything in the S tier is not perfect. When you're not paying $50 to host a single site, but rather 3 cents per website, you have to have logical expectations. So, one thing, Hostinger support is great but can be slow and confusing at times. There's no phone support, only email and 24/7 live chat. But once you try getting help, you first get redirected to the knowledge base. Click here, and then you talk to the AI chat bot, which is actually kind of okay at answering basic questions, but you have to ask the chatbot to connect you to an actual person. All that can take time and unnecessary work. A simple button, human or AI, would be enough. To add to that, Hostinger is probably the only provider that is updated and upgraded so often that it can actually mess with your work. Like, the dashboard is now different. Okay, great. We filmed the entire video already. Cool. It's a weird double-edged sword. It is noticeably better than a year ago with so many small improvements, but it can also disrupt your workflow. The dashboard can get stuck until reloaded, which is kind of annoying. When you're used to this one button being in this one place, it's not there anymore. But honestly, these are a few minor complaints about an otherwise fantastic provider. This goes to the top, straight to it, S tier, and high recommendations if you're looking for your very first hosting provider. Okay, enough about Hostinger. What else do we have here? And we get A2 Hosting, another quite interesting provider. On one hand, it offers some of the fastest performing shared hosting with its turbo plans. On the other hand, its control panel can feel like it's straight from 2005. It's a similar case to HostGator. It's kind of an unprofessional feel. But, you know, these are just my feelings, man. The real issue is the control panel. Just look at it and compare it to Hostinger's. Now ask yourself, do you need all of these menus, all of these footers when you want to manage your website? Why is this footer here? Who designs this panel? It really takes time to just understand which menu is for your website. Just quite visually annoying to work with. And it's a bit negated by the fact you use the C panel for most of your more serious tasks, but the custom panel still needs to be improved. So, regarding performance, the non-turbo mode plan was able to load my test website in under 1.5 seconds, but with turbo, it was about 1 second. Now, naturally, for a provider making its marketing all about its performance, the stress test with 50 virtual users was a cakewalk and showed great results for response times, while the uptime wasn't 100% perfect. It had only a few short downtime issues through a month of testing. Now, the biggest A2 hosting discounts are through the link below. And if you go with a 36-month prepaid option, it's best suited for long-term projects. I also would suggest getting a 3-year plan since the renewal price is a bit steeper, 4 to 5 times the initial price. Also, domain names are not included in shared hosting plans, which, yeah, only usually saves you about $10, but hey, $10 is $10. Okay, to sum up, A2 Hosting is a great provider if you're all about boosting your website's performance. It's a bit more expensive and does look outdated. So let's put it into the B tier, a nice middle ground. A2 Hosting fits perfectly right here. Before moving on, why not hit that like button if you find this video interesting? And by subscribing to the Cyber News YouTube channel, you can find more in-depth web hosting comparison videos for top providers, tutorials on web hosting for beginners, or web hosting 2024 news. So let's see what other provider we can get. And it's Inos. Okay, Inos is an affordable and quite a universal provider. It does a few things wrong, but mostly it's among the best web hosting providers. However, I do have to point out one thing immediately. I don't like its custom control panel. Sure, it's surprisingly clean of upsells and the design is simplistic enough for beginners, but I don't know. It just feels so confusing, especially compared to some other providers' control panels. What was also a surprise from a truly cheap hosting provider was good performance. It managed to load my test website in under 2 seconds, which passed the Google recommendation line. The uptime was solid too, having only 2 small downtime issues and perfectly fitting for its 99.9% guarantee on that. The stress test was the only part that showed some stumbling. The cheapest plan managed to pass the 50 virtual user test okay, but the average response time was more than standard. But what I like is that the computing resources your subscription gets increase substantially for a few dollars a month. To add to that, Ionos USA and Ionos UK are quite different. While from the services perspective they have mostly the same things, the resources are way different. 10 gigabytes with the cheapest plan versus 100 gigabytes on the UK version. But notice that UK Ionos subscriptions are all limited, while USA offers unlimited and quite a cheap option with the Plus plan. Also, for my friends in the UK, you can pay monthly even with the special deals. So, while there are some things that Ionos doesn't do stellar, mainly the confusing dashboard and it being slightly more expensive in the long run, it's still a very solid hosting choice. Can't confidently put it on the S tier, so Ionos goes to A tier. So, 4 providers are already on the tier list. Which provider will be next on our chopping block? And it is Bluehost. I always said that if you're looking for a super simple WordPress hosting provider and don't need to host hundreds of websites, Bluehost is the best choice, especially if you use the discount link below and grab the basic plan for $2 a month, making it one of the most affordable shared hosting choices. Bluehost gives this cheapest price for a 12-month subscription, becoming a great option if you're looking for something short-term. With the sweet discount, you won't need to pay hundreds. However, keep in mind that if you decide to opt with Bluehost for a shorter period, it'll make you pay the regular price faster. So, for long-term users, I would recommend the longest billing option for better value with a discount. I also think Bluehost is great at balancing things for complete beginners and more advanced users. If you're new, then everything can be managed through a custom Bluehost panel, which is clean of upsells and has a clear structure. But if you find this too simple, you can do everything you need through the good old cPanel. I would probably recommend going with more expensive plans or getting a domain privacy add-on for the cheapest plan. What is domain privacy protection? Well, when registering a domain, you do it with your real information, and this info is placed into public registrars. Privacy protection changes your info with the company's info. So yeah, I think I'm gonna place it in the A or S tier. The renewals are a bit steeper, but it's great for beginners and offers lots for WordPress. Let's go with the S tier. Bluehost can join hosting it right there. Let's spin the wheel again, and this time, the internet gods give us InMotion hosting. The title suits the video so well. You know, in motion, because we spun the wheel, and I'll let myself out. In all seriousness though, the main thing you need to know about this hosting is that it has the longest money back guarantee in the market. When you hear this, you think, what, 60 days? No, 90-day money back guarantee. If you ever felt like a month was not enough to try out a hosting provider, well, 3 should be enough. But with this, you should be aware the support system here can be quite meh. I've noticed that it's getting longer for support agents to solve issues, and there are a few forum posts popping up where users have problems with InMotion support. So take that 90-day guarantee with a grain of salt. We didn't experience problems when canceling our subscription the last time, but you know how it is with support. What I like about InMotion is its performance. It was able to load my testing website in around 1 second, matching up with Hostinger and a few other fast shared hosting providers. It's not just speed. Putting InMotion through the same stress test showed that it can handle 50 consecutive users without any problems. Uptime is a bit different. It had a few quick incidents throughout the month period, so not 100%. But surprisingly, the first plan doesn't actually guarantee anything about uptime. Only with the second option do you get an SLA that states your 99.99% uptime. And we haven't tested how much the SLA makes on uptime. We're currently monitoring a few different plans from InMotion hosting. So hey, why not subscribe to stay informed? Overall, it's a mix of good and okay. InMotion hosting seems to be stuck in motion, in the middle. So let's place it in the B tier. All right, let's keep moving and spinning the wheel. The next provider to place on the tier list is Namecheap. And as the name suggests, this is among the best cheap web hosting providers, not in terms of quality, but in its pricing. 3 websites, 20 gigabytes of storage space, and a free domain name for this price. I consider that a steal. Keep in mind that you can't grab what Namecheap calls premium domain names with that free credit. But at the same time, these names prices start from a few $1,000s, which is probably not something you're looking to spend on a provider called Namecheap. My main issue with Namecheap is that it has quite unreliable performance. It's not tragic, but it loads my website in about the 2.5 second mark. For very cheap hosting, that's fine. But this is the best web hosting tier list, not just the okay hosting tier list. Uptime also isn't the strongest part of Namecheap, even though they promise you 100% or a compensation. I've experienced around 30 minutes of downtime. Did I get compensation? No. Your site needs to go down for an hour to be eligible, so I guess 30 minutes a month is 100%. The stress test was handled quite okay actually. The response time was a bit all over the place, but nothing too crazy. So the average was quite good compared to all others. Honestly, Namecheap is quite a stellar provider that does a few okay things. It is cheap and offers lots of services, but the custom control panel could use some work. The performance can also be improved, so if you're all about budget, you'll probably like Namecheap. If you're looking for hosting for a super important project, try one from the A or S tiers. Anyway, let's place Namecheap in the middle B tier. Moving on from Namecheap, we spin the wheel once more and we get DreamHost.
Is it a nightmare or a dream?
And neither. Alright, I'll stop. It's another WordPress hosting recommendation from the creators themselves, and honestly, it's not hard to see why it gets that. It's not perfect hosting though. I'm gonna start with my issues, the main ones being its dashboard and upsells. I've covered this quite a few times in my videos, but can providers please stop with upsells in control dashboards? I'm here to manage my website, not to buy a domain name. It can feel a bit aggressive at times, always logging into more things to buy. I mean, the controls themselves are fine, resembling Hostinger's new H-panel look. DreamHost's performance is good though. It loaded my testing site in around 1.5 seconds and managed to keep it up 100% throughout the month. Shared hosting also managed to handle a 50 virtual user stress test without any HTTP failures and low response times. If you decide to go with DreamHost, first use the discount links below to get the best deal. But also, I recommend going with the unlimited plan. This removes most limitations on your hosting subscription for only $1 or so more. However, keep in mind that unlimited doesn't mean unlimited for everything. If you start uploading movie backups or other non-related files, then DreamHost is simply not for that. So, to sum up, DreamHost is among the best hosting for WordPress providers, especially if you want to hire a professional to help you out. With only small issues, let's go with the A tier. Next up, let's spin the wheel and we get to talk about GoDaddy. To be fair, it's an okay provider. It has some nice offers, it does include useful business tools, but also has a lot of issues that are not addressed to this day. For example, it's quite expensive overall, and the dashboard can be confusing to navigate. I'll give them one thing, it's clean and clear looking. It's just not very user-friendly. For shared hosting, the resources you get are also okay. There's a lot of freebies, domain name, SSL, email, WordPress migration, but website and storage space are strictly limited. Every plan includes free automatic website backups, so that's a nice thing. And the renewals are one of the lowest in the market. So all of this is quite okay. Definitely not the best value plans, but you're not being scammed or anything. However, once you work with GoDaddy for a while, you start noticing the bad. First, it has lower than average performance, especially asking more than average monthly fees. For a business-focused hosting, it can't really handle stress that well. In my 50 virtual users test, it started to struggle, with response times being all over the place and quite a lot of HTTPS errors. Lastly, I don't particularly like the GoDaddy support system. Yes, it's great that they have a lot of support numbers for different countries and they offer support through WhatsApp. The issue, however, every time we try to get help, it took so long. And a lot of the times I had to explain things over and over again. There's not a lot to talk about with GoDaddy. Not really recommended unless it has something you truly need. C tier. We talked about way better and cheaper options already on the list. Well, there's no need to spin the wheel now. The only provider left not on the tier list is SiteGround Hosting. And I'm gonna be upfront with you. While SiteGround does have a few small issues, it's a very solid choice, especially if you're a developer. There's staging plus Git integration, easy collaborations on projects, and even white labeling options. White labeling allows you to rebrand and resell SiteGround tools as your own. But at the same time, SiteGround has a simple dashboard and is quite easy to manage. Personally, this isn't my favorite dashboard we explored today. Just like Hostinger, the SiteGround dashboard can get stuck or be slow sometimes. The design is a bit too bulky for my taste. They do have a dark mode.
Praise the Lord of Darkness.
I mean, if you're having problems with your vision. SiteGround is the most adaptable provider on the list. Big plus. You know what? I think it's time in the overall industry that maybe we not only ask what's included in our hosting plan, but also how our hosting gets its energy. It's still physical tech that needs to run 24/7. So if I can host my website and help out the planet at least a bit, then why not? For you, that might be a big plus or just a gimmick. It's just up to you. But I personally would like to see this more in the market. And this energy doesn't impact anything. SiteGround has some of the most solid performance in the market. 100% uptime results throughout the entire month. Easily tackled the 50 virtual user stress tests, and my testing site loaded in around 1 second, just like Hostinger and InMotion. So overall, I really like SiteGround. And if you're a developer or want to have powerful hosting and can spend more, try it out. I'll add it to the A tier. It can be friends with Ionos and DreamHost. All right, wow. This Best Hosting 2024 tier list took quite a while to finish. If you liked it, drop a like. You can find full reviews of the top tier providers in the description. I've left discount links to all mentioned providers if you want to get them, so make sure you do that with the lowest price. Now, I recommend only going with the best WordPress hosting, S and A tier providers, since they'll give you the most value and save your cash while being easy to use. If you're completely new to web hosting, then go with Hostinger's plan and happy hosting. Anyway, please leave opinions and your tier list in the comments. I'm interested in hearing what you have to say. Okay, that's it. See you later.